Steve and Jill here.
Hello.
Welcome to the Land Investor Show, entertainment land investment talk. I'm Steve and Jack Butella.
I am Jill DeWitt, broadcasting from sunny Southern California.
Today, Jill and I talk about selling that little house on the prairie story. You know, if you're really young, you may not know about it, but there was a show on TV for a lot of years in the 70s and 80s called Little House on the Prairie, based on a famous book series.
Pa!
Yeah. Laura Ingalls Wilder grew up,
Michael Landon.
in a picture-perfect little setting with a cabin and smoke coming out of the smokestack, and they had a homestead, and they never had any money, but they're good people, and they lived off the land. Mm-hmm. That's the story we sell.
They never
As
had
a
any
real estate
money.
owner. They never had any money. Did you notice that?
That is kind of true. They had three dresses.
But they were free. You know,
that's true.
They were in control.
They never
of their
wanted
own
for
time.
anything.
Yeah.
They always had. There was always
They
food.
helped each other out.
Yeah, that's true. That's good.
That's the lifestyle we all want. None of us, we want that one time a year where the $300 property tax bill comes up. We want that to be our one bill.
Right. And we hope it's a $30 tax bill.
Right.
That's awesome.
That's the story we're selling in it, and you can believe it or not, in an internet posting for a 40-acre property somewhere, really sell the heck out of that concept. That's what people are looking for. That's what I'm still looking for. I'm still looking for that after 15,000 deals.
Why is that?
I still get on the internet on the weekend and say, where could I buy a piece of property?
I don't have that.
I do.
Don't
it's
have
a guy
that.
thing, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe it is.
Before we get into it, and probably start arguing about it, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the landinvestors.com online community. It's free.
Okay. Marilyn asks, has anyone seen this type of wording before? If so, am I correct in saying seller A has full permission and authority to sell as noted in second paragraph below? So in quotes, grantor reserves a legal title estate in the property for the remainder of the life of seller A and the wife of seller A, end quote. Oh my gosh. How should new deed...
I will explain this.
This is nuts. How should new deed be written? Should a quitclaim deed be prepared adding sons as grantors? Seller A's spouse has passed, and that would complicate this more. Oh my gosh. Thanks in advance for your thoughts and direction. Well, I'm a little lost.
So if you've ever taken a real estate class to become a real estate agent, you know what a life estate is, or maybe you didn't pay attention like most people, but real estate examiners love to throw all this life estate. I do too. It has nothing to do with reality.
Yeah.
It's along the lines of how you would set up a trust, irrevocable trust or revocable trust. It's all in the name of limiting what your beneficiary or your heir can do with the property, or while they're alive, and then it might change after they die. That's
just not nice.
The life estate, if you look it up, it sounds a lot more complicated than it is. So, and I'm going to let you go do that. So, but in Marilyn's
Moving
case
on.
here, it's the most boring crap there ever was. But let's solve Marilyn's problem here. So she's asking.
Don't buy it. Moving on.
That's what Jill would do. What the hell is this life estate
Well,
thing?
I'm out.
We can make 10 grand on this, but I'm not going to spend 20 minutes figuring it out.
These two over here that are easy make $5 grand. That makes up for this one. I'm done. That's exactly how I roll.
Is exactly why you and I are together. Because I completely agree, although I would work this out.
Do I really need to spend all the time and energy in this? Nope.
All right, but philosophically, actually, I'm going to talk to our producer about the questions we're choosing, because this is not a question I would choose to discuss on this show.
Okay.
I like questions like, does this really work, Steve?
Right.
Are you a liar?
Or
what are you lying about?
Or no, my favorite questions are like, I now can handle 100 a month. How do I get to 500 a month?
That's the question I like.
That's exactly.
I worked out all the kinks. Turns out
where do I move all this cash?
Turns out that you were right about this, and this, and super wrong about this thing.
Right. I'm good with that too.
Then that's how I learn.
There we go.
So Marilyn's got a life estate issue. It all has to do, first of all, if there's any money in this deal at all, I would call a title agent. And if you're in a lawyer state like New York,
ding ding, that's the answer.
This is almost lawyer worthy, even if you're not in a lawyer state. So That is my real advice. But since somebody wrote this life estate.
Well, you know what? Can I say something about what you just said about the lawyer and the attorney? It's like we could, most of us, do our own taxes. But do we want to do our own taxes? No. Why? It sure looks better in the eyes of the government if we have an unrelated third party, aka an accountant, doing your taxes. So this might be something like this too. Even if you're a pro at this and you know exactly what to do, do you want to be the person that three transfers down the road, now a title agent's involved and they do have some questions and they want to come back to you for it? I don't want to be the quote unquote expert and be called in. Thank you. I'm done.
Chances are the person who set this all up for the seller, there's a lawyer involved or an estate attorney or something. That's a person who can undo it. Mm-hmm. And whether or not people are alive and the signers and all that, it gets kind of complicated. The average title agent's not going to know what to do here. So whoever set this up, they need to undo it when you buy it.
That makes sense.
There has to be more than $10,000 of immediate margin in this for you to even pursue it at all. And all kidding aside, Jill's right. The more I look at it and think about it, why do you want to undo this? Just move on to the next deal.
This is one of those times where you just, hang on a minute, more mail's coming tomorrow.
Yeah. Let's
just sit tight. If this is the only deal that you're staring at right now, send out more mail.
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
Thank you.
It truly is.
Thank you.
I mean, that's perfect.
Yeah, this is because I've done that. You know what? Because I've sat there and gone, wow, I just wasted 3 days trying to get to the bottom of this. I've called attorneys here. I talked to these people. I did all this stuff. And I'm still nowhere closer to getting this deal done. And I've sat and gone, you know what? I could have just pushed it aside and spent 3 days on these over here and been so far ahead of the game. So you do that once or twice, you won't do it again.
So here's what happens in reality. I'll tell you exactly. If this deal came in today with us, this is what would happen. So there's already 200 or 300 deals in there that we are in some point of either buying or selling. Actually, the last time I looked, there's, 380, I think. So this deal comes in, it gets processed in our system, and then I see this life estate thing. Because I'm the one who approves the deals in all of our entity. I approve the purchase price and the sale price. And then it just goes into the machine. And we turn it into cash. This would just continually get shoved to the bottom.
Yep.
And nobody would probably ever say, no, it's an awful deal. Just get it out of the system. It's over. It would just continually get shoved to the bottom until it's rotten, like vegetables in the back of the refrigerator. Because there's something better.
It's just weighing on you. Get that off the sheet.
Yep. That's the real answer. That's why you listen to the show.
Thank you.
To get a real, no BS answer.
True.
Today's topic: selling that little house on the prairie type story. That storybook. I want to live close to a little brook and be on my own and not report to my boss or my wife. This is the meat of the show. Jill, I know you've been reading up on how to use stories, storytelling in sales. Can you share with us a little bit about what that's all about?
Yeah. So I got into this book called Storyonomics, and it just came out last month. And I'm really liking it. And it's really about advertising and all that stuff, getting your word out today, because it's a lot different. Commercials and things like that. It's a whole different world than it was 5, 10, 15 years ago. And so to survive, we have to adapt, right? And to I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. You got to be able to tell a story and solve a problem. So that's the whole thing. The whole premise of this book is being a good storyteller, solving problems. You're not hitting people over the head with an ad. You're telling a story about why your product or why your service or whatever it is can help them. So anyway, my point of that is you could look at this and apply this to selling property, because at the end of the day, we're selling a dream. You're solving a problem. Why would someone want to buy land?
Let's talk about that for a second. Why would somebody want to buy a piece of property? Let's say they have a house in the suburbs somewhere and a job and a spouse and some kids, or maybe they don't. Maybe they're younger or older. Why would they want to buy a piece of property? They want to satisfy some version of what Jill's talking about.
There's something going on.
Yeah, there's something going on.
Sometimes it's just the fact that they've never owned property. That's one that I come across a lot. People have rented and done this stuff all, their whole lives, and the thought of actually owning a piece of property that they could stand on and do whatever they want with, that's a dream, just an unbelievable dream. Some people are like, I need more room. They're living in this crazy area and traffic and, the quality of life, the commute, the smog, the whatever it is. God, I just want to get out of it, even if only for a weekend.
I mean, that's why I look at real estate.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I got into it.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of people. Freedom. Yeah, escaping it, getting out and seeing blue sky.
Clean air.
Well, you know what, Jack? I think that's why we have a boat. I think that's why you like to get out. Because where we live, it's not conducive to standing out and just going, and then just inhaling, and because we're staring at that neighbor and that neighbor and that neighbor, you know what I mean? You just can't do that.
Why do we live here?
Because I want to live at the beach.
We could live anywhere. We could literally.
You know what's funny?
Literally live anywhere.
I know why. Okay.
And do this job.
This is a good point.
And we
could be on an island.
In maybe the second most expensive real estate market in North America.
We don't know why. You want me to explain why? Or are you asking me why?
I'm asking for me and the benefit of anyone listening.
Because we chose a lifestyle. No, because I want to... Wait, hold on a moment. I want the stuff to do, not just the lifestyle. I shouldn't say it like that. I didn't mean to be like a snob. No, but I want to have stuff to do. I want to be able to get on my bike and go to the pier and have fun and ride up and down the Strand and, goof off and hey, look, we can see Catalina today. For me, it's a dream. You know what? But at the end of the day, it's a dream. I love the beach lifestyle. I love, you hate sand in the bed. I think sand in the bed rocks.
Sand in the bed. What's sand in the bed?
I think
and salt.
It makes me happy. It really makes
because I love you is why I'm going along with this, but it's not going to go on forever.
I know. I know the days are numbered. Well, here's what happened.
Days, it's years, but
I know, because I got number 3 hooked in.
I know. Yeah, our number 3 kids, this is his dream.
I know. Number 1 and 2 are like, you guys are weird.
They gang up on me.
Yeah.
You know what I want?
What?
Little house on the prairie. I want a kick-ass little A-frame that, ground up we built with all the stuff that we want in it. A big garage full of ATVs. There's probably going to be some firearms involved and a bunch of stuff like that. So, stuff to do. I got to tell you, we could have stuff to do.
It's true.
And you're the most reckless, crazy ATV driver
true.
I've ever seen.
I do like that. But at the end of the day, I'm a social person, so that's my thing. I need to be close enough to people because I like to go out and talk to people. I really do love that. You and I do a lot of nights where we're out and meeting new people. For me, it's very fun. Where we live is where people vacation a lot. And
this sounds like a marriage counselor meeting.
No, but seriously, it's a blast for me to meet people from other cities and states. And guy, what brought you here? What do you think? It's it's fun. I like it.
I can
You
deal
do
with
too,
it because there's a boating aspect to our life that on the ocean, which I have never experienced in my life until we moved here, and I'll tell you, it's pretty cool.
You need that. You need to get out and have a little quiet time, I think, and that's where I think you go get on the boat and you take off, and that's your quiet time.
There's fish.
You can center yourself.
Yeah, that's what I tell myself.
You go out and meditate.
There's islands around here and stuff too. It's fun.
Go meditate and kill fish.
That's right, fish murder.
Yeah.
God, we just lost half of our listeners.
Okay, back to the show.
But it all ties into this little house on the prairie story. What Jill and I are talking about is her version of the story and my version of the story. And they're not that far apart. We both kind of want the same thing. It's just manifesting itself into a different way.
Well, the point is, whatever the property is, take a step back. Think about who would want to be there and why they'd want to be there. And get out of your own head, by the way.
Yeah.
Think about what they might be looking for and describe the property that way. Tell the story. There's, what's interesting? I was listening to Sirius Radio the other day again. I'm not plugging that at all. We're not on Sirius, obviously, but it's new in my car. I finally have a car that has this. Anyway, So, and this guy was talking about living in San Francisco. And what was really funny because he was half blaming. Well, I mean,
My car has an AM radio in it, but go
people
ahead.
are weird. Anyway, they were half blaming the city of San Francisco for allowing the rents to get that high.
What?
He was not kidding. This is the weirdest rant
Like that's the
possible.
city's problem.
Right? And it was funny because the guy was interviewing me said, well,
That's
there's this thing called
atrocious, Joe.
there's a thing called supply and demand and things like that, and it was really, really funny. I'm like, oh, this is hilarious. They were going to get into a fist fight over it. Anyway, the point is, I know, that guy shouldn't be there. He doesn't see the value. He doesn't like it. It's not a good for him. He would rather, and that's it. And nothing's wrong. That was his viewpoint. He would be a person that I would be writing a beautiful description to buy this property, maybe 45 minutes, even an hour away.
Drive till you qualify.
Right? But if you want land and you want space, you know what? You want less expensive. For him, it was money.
Yeah.
I don't think it was
Well, he can't afford
necessarily
it.
right.
If you can't afford San Francisco, don't live there.
Right. I mean,
That's
don't
the
quit
end of the-
bitching about it.
That's the end of the whole show.
The
city's job is
It was
not
really
to
weird.
make it rent controllable for you.
Right? I really want.
You're gonna get so much email.
He
on
was.
this whole
Well, you know what? He
show.
was so mad. Here's what his complaints were: that more than, I don't know, 70%. I think he said of the city. Don't quote me on the percentage, but he said has restrictions that you can't build over 3 stories.
Yeah.
So
That is the city's
he's
job, by the way.
blaming the city because we can't go up and reduce rent. That's making it even harder. And I'm like, that's your argument?
That guy needs to be
It was so funny.
taken back out behind the shed.
It was really funny. So anyway,
There's density issues, parking issues. You can't put that many people in a small space.
That's true, too.
There's models about why that doesn't work. Civil engineering models.
I know.
All over the world.
I know.
Let's have that guy on the show.
But you know what? It's
String 'em
perfect.
up.
It's perfect for some people. You know what? Like you and I have talked about that. There may be a time in our, like even now, if I was living in San Francisco and didn't have a car, I think that'd be awesome. I would use public transportation. I have no trouble with that.
Me too.
I have no trouble carrying my own groceries home. I have no trouble, any of that. I think it's cool. That's the greatest thing. We don't do that right now, but I have no trouble with it. Well, we use public transportation a lot, actually, but by the way of Uber and Lyft. But anyway, so you need to just kind of take a step back.
You
tell
have to
a
meet your
story.
seller from where they're coming, I think is what you're saying. I mean, meet your buyer from where they're coming.
Just write a good story, and that I think write a good story that appeals to a lot of people and not necessarily yourself. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. There's always an attribute. You can always take a step back and write a story. Spend a few minutes on it. Don't put 12 acres, Coconino County, APN XYZ.
Yeah. In
Motorcycle
45
friendly.
miles west of Flagstaff. You're right. If you don't, they're exactly right, Joe. Joe and I have had people in the past who've worked for us, and we've attempted to employ them to write descriptions like we're talking about. And it by and large has dismally failed because they have never in their life sat down on a piece of rural real estate and had this thought, oh my gosh, I could live here. I could build a type of shack. I don't have to have my job anymore. There's a little stream over there back. This is a dream I didn't even know I had.
But one of the reasons why I think that is I think that job, because it's 2 people. It's almost like it takes 2 talents or 2 different people to do it. One person's got to be technical, doing the video, the flyovers. Follow me on this.
I'm trying to.
Okay, wait. So there's got to be there's a technical person.
I
There's a
have a dream.
technical side. Hold
You
on.
have to have a dream.
Hold on a moment. Follow me here. There's a technical person that's got to get the photos right, get the facts straight, get it posted, get the photos looking the right way and facing the right direction. Come on, let's be honest here. Then there's a creative storytelling person that has to come in and make it beautiful. I mean, staging a house. There's a good example.
That's a perfect parlay into this Little House on the Prairie Tell a Story concept. When you stage a house versus selling it vacant or versus selling it with your own garbage all over the place because you've been living there for 20 years, you're not doing yourself any favors. But when you stage a house and somebody walks through, they start to see themselves living there, and they're playing that little thing out in their head. Oh, I can see my stuff over there.
They can say, "Oh,
that's where I'm going to park my car."
It does fit a dining room table that holds 6 people.
Right.
That's what they want to see.
I can have Easter here.
If it's empty, they don't get it.
The Christmas tree is going to go over there. They see that story plays out in their head, and then you've done your job as a seller. Well, Jill, that's perfect.
Thank you.
I knew that after 20 minutes we would figure it out.
That's a lot. You didn't get it the whole time?
Well, for guys, it's a little different,
All right, now
that little house on the prairie is always in the back of my head anyway. So when I look at a piece of land, I didn't realize it until just now. Honestly, to your credit, that's the story I'm playing out.
Yeah.
And that's why I buy it. Like if I see, look at when I'm going to buy property and making decisions on which properties we buy, hundreds of them at a time, I see if that it passes a little house in the prairie test.
That's so interesting, and that's not what I look at. I'm actually...
What do you look at? Just the money?
Yeah.
I mean, I look at that first, or else I wouldn't even start to have that test thought.
You know why? Well, let me back up. Here's why. It's got to me. You have me very well trained, and now I see assets that way. I do see them as a line item that you taught me to, and I don't have any problem with that. Then I see, how do I describe this one? I never put myself there anymore. I really don't. I see, okay, who's going to want this? What's going to appeal to them? Why would they like it? And that's it. I've maybe because I've been at this for how many years too.
Whatever we're doing, it works.
I can take a step back, and I don't assume. I've learned, you know why? Because I ate my words many times. I've learned to never assume what I want is going to be what somebody else is going to want. I've done it wrong, so there you go.
Right.
So I didn't come by it naturally. I had to learn it.
I think we've made our point.
Thank you.
And so do most of the listeners.
Oh gosh, stop! Please stop.
You've done it again. Spend another 22 minutes, I guess, this time listening to the Land Investor Show. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode entitled The Land Investors Show, episode 700.
Wow.
I can't believe it.
Wow.
700 shows we've done.
Wow. And we're going to answer your questions. If you have any, post them on our free online community found on landinvestors.com.
You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
Did it not make sense?
No, it made complete sense.
Okay.
And I know the show is lengthy and maybe even, honestly, hard to listen to. I'm not sure. But I'll tell you, we'll see the numbers.
It's hard for me.
A couple of weeks, we'll see the numbers. But, man, I actually learned a lot because there is so much to how you sell a house and why it sells so fast.
Yeah.
And how you sell land to the end user anyway.
All right. Especially going that extra mile, from staging homes. We've done that in the past. I've staged the homes that we have flipped, and
in the distant past, we don't do that anymore.
Not anymore. But it was a while back. But the point is going a little even extra. It sounds so silly, but it makes a difference. It's smelling cookies, seeing fresh flowers, having a doormat.
I mean, I can say this because I'm a guy. Like, the contractor type men are famous for taking the project 90% of the way and not doing that last finish, push it over the edge, oh my God thing.
Mm-hmm. They don't even know that they missed it.
They don't even know enough to hire a designer or a stager to actually do it for them.
I think it's great. This is good.
If you ask them, they'll say, oh, you should see the plumbing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That plumbing is
why turn the lights on?
Artwork.
They work.
Yeah. Did you see that 18-car garage on this 1,200 square foot house?
Thank you.
It's a total guy thing.
Oh my gosh. Share the fun by subscribing on iTunes or wherever you are listening. And while you're at it, please rate us there. We are Steve and Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.